Hi, Natalie. Well, we're just across the street from the buildings in question, and as you may be able to see, there are still a large number of emergency vehicles on scene as fire officials try to put out this very complex 5-alarm blaze. Now, overnight, we are told that they had up to 77 fire trucks that were here working rotating shifts overnight. At this point, you can't actually see any signs of an active fire, but fire officials say that's because the blaze has been spreading behind the walls, which makes it incredibly difficult to tackle. In fact, crews say every time they think they have the fire knocked down, it flares up again. The fire started yesterday afternoon in the parking garage of 11 Thorncliffe Park Drive, and by evening, the fire had spread to the building next door, 21 Overley Boulevard. Now, all of the residents in both buildings were evacuated due to high carbon monoxide levels, and we're told it could be days before they're allowed to return home. That being said, we've seen some messages that indicate that some of the residents are being allowed in as we speak to collect personal items from specific floors.
I was home.
Yeah.
And then I left just after 2 o'clock after the fire alarms went off. I got back around midnight and got told that I can't go home and got sent to the Thorncliffe Community Center, and that's where I spent the night.
It's frustrating. It's scary. Like to know if I can get into the unit. I know that our unit particularly hasn't been affected, but there's a lot of smoke.
The challenge right now is the location. What we have discovered is the insulation is between the buildings and between the walls. So this has to be a very meticulous and methodical and systematic approach. The firefighters can't just start cutting into walls and roofs of high-rise buildings, given gas lines, given hydro and power lines.
In times like this, it is so important that we work together as a community. And this is a very special community filled with so many families and seniors. I've already received messages from so many people wanting to help, from school principals to local neighbors.
Now, the fire chief says crews will remain here until the fire is completely out, but he has no timeline as to when that might be. He says it could be 12 hours, it could be 48 hours. And he says residents will not be allowed back home until 24 hours after that point. Reporting live from Janice Golding, now back to Natalie.
Okay, thank you, Janice.